Good day, this is the Bard Monk. I thought I'd share a story with you to illustrate a little bit about house clearing. Now, this is one of the stranger things that happen around house clearing for me. I was living in a building at the time, and I had been doing kind of odds and sods and different jobs, and that's how I was getting by. I did a lot of temp work. I was coming home from work one day, and a little old lady that lived on the second floor, and the way the apartment was set up was kind of strange. You had to walk through one floor to get to the next floor. It was like walking through a maze. But the rent was good, so here I was, being there, just for another few days. That's what I kept telling myself. I ended up there a whole year. But anyway, this little old lady, she looked at me and she said, "I saw you sticking that thing up on the bulletin board in the laundry room." I said, "What thing?" And she goes, "Well, yeah, you stick up a few things. Let me isolate it for you." And I went, "Okay." She goes, "House clearing?" She goes, "You do that?" I go, "Yeah." I said, "One of the many things I do." She said, "I imagine it's costly." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I've done it all the way for, 12,000 acre farm for $1,500 to, a pot of soup for an old man that had his chair chasing him around the room." She goes, "Well, we can dicker about it later. I'm having a problem. It's kind of embarrassing and strange, and you have to understand. I am a Christian lady. Um, well, let me tell you. You got time?" And I went, "Yeah, I have time. I'm just coming home from work." She goes, "Oh, good. Well, come in for. Uh, I'm just finishing up supper, and there's plenty in there, so you can come in and have supper with me and my husband, and I'll tell you about my well, I'll tell you about what's been going on." And I said, "Okay, supper sounds yummy," and off I went. And into the kitchen we went and sat at this wonderful little table, and she told me this very interestingly strange story. She said, I go to bed tonight, in my normal grandma's nightie. And nothing to worry about there, just a nightie to keep you nice and warm. And I wake up no longer in the nightie. I know, that sounds strange, and you probably want to leave for the door. I said, "No," I said, "I've heard stranger things. Although that one is interesting." She said, "So is this paranormal activity?" I said, "Well, yeah, it is." And she goes, "Okay, so then you can clear it." I said, "Well," I said, "we can see what's going on and see why it's going on, and yes, it should be able to be cleared." And she said, "Oh, thank you." She said, "That's embarrassing." She said, "Even when I was younger," she said, "I just wasn't that type of girl. I didn't wear that type of stuff. And so waking up in that type of stuff, it's like, whoa, weird and strange, and I want my life back, please." And I said, "Well, we'll finish up dinner and I'll take a look." I walked in, and it was, Spirit was standing in the corner. I could see it, laughing. It was having fun. And I looked at her and I said, You're a Christian lady, right? You pray every night before you go to bed?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah, absolutely." She said, "Every night I pray, every morning I pray, every day I pray." She said, "I pray. That's what I do." And I said, "Well, that's good." And I said, "Just ask God to keep your clothes on." She goes, "It's that simple?" I said, "Well, I'm going to deal with the spirit over there." I said, "It's a succubus," and I said, "It thinks it's funny to change your clothes." And I said, "Don't ask how it does it, because," I said, there is scientific principles and ways of being that it does this with, but you don't need to know those. And this thing will have to go." She goes, you have that authority? Yes, well, I have that authority in God, and I'm going to ask your permission to oust it, and it'll go away. She goes, I like the word oust. It means remove quickly. I said, yes, and sometimes also violently. I said, but not in this case. I said, it's going to leave without a big bang or smoke or mirrors or anything exploding. She goes, that's very good. So she gave me the permission, and I spoke to it in the name of Christ, and it left. And, I thought this is the end of it. She had been waking up in these wonderful outfits that, like she said, even as a younger woman, she wouldn't have wore. Her husband's response, he was an older man, and so was she, and as I said, she called herself the little old lady, so I guess I can. Her husband's response to one morning with her being dressed the way she was, he goes, it hasn't worked for years, dear. And that's not helping. And she said, it was becoming a bother. So, for the next 3 or 4 mornings, she phoned me and she goes, I'm in my nightie. It's cool. It's good. It's wonderful. No weirdness happening. Thank you so much. And then about a week later, she phoned me and she was laughing. And I mean just belly laugh, like wah, ha, 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 laughing. And I go, what you laughing about? She goes, give me a moment. And I could hear her husband, it's not funny, dear. It's not funny at all. And I went, oh my, I wonder what happened. See, I do something really strange with my house clearing. I go in, I deal with the problem, it isn't solved. I'll go back in and deal with it again, and again, and again. Now, I've never really had to go back. This was one of the few times I did. It wasn't the same activity, it was similar, and I dealt with it. It cost them the same price. I'll tell you in a minute what that was. Those were very good cookies. Oh, did I say cookies? Anyway, getting back to the story. So she's sitting there laughing. And finally, through all of this laughter, she gets out and she goes, it happened to him. Full merry widow, with the bustle, the whole thing, the garter straps. She goes, I'm sorry, but it's hilarious. I went, I'll deal with it. She goes, it would be good if you did. She said, because he's never going to be the same. The poor man. And I heard in the background, how do you get out of this freaking thing? And I went, So I went downstairs, and he was in the bathroom wrestling with whatever had been put on him, and she was helping, and she said, just get rid of it, my dear. I give you complete permission to do so. So I spoke in the name of Christ, and this time it was an incubus. And I went, you gotta go, and it looked at me, and I opened a gate, and it stepped through, and I destroyed the gate, and poured the blood of Christ over it, and it was gone. And they never had activity like that again for the months that I was living in that place. Now, what did that cost them, that clearing? Well, I believe in a fair energy exchange, and in that case, a nice plate of chocolate chip cookies for the rest of the time I was there. I would have took one, but I got many. They were beautiful people, and they were having a very strange issue. That's all. So that's my story. I'm hoping you have an amazing, wonderful day. From the Bard Monk, signing off.